Good morning, good people, brothers, sisters, and beautiful, defiant siblings in the movement. Welcome to the unapologetic voice of labor, equity, and action. This is the CWA Our Power Radio Show where we amplify the organizers, uplift the everyday workers, and honor the giants whose shoulders we stand on. Right here on KYOK 1140 AM and the all-new 106.5 FM in the heart of Houston, Texas. If you're rolling through H-Town or just fired up anywhere in the world, stream us live on kyokradio.org, on the CWA Strong app, or catch the replay anytime by searching CWA Hour of Power on your favorite podcast platform. Because this space, this time, it's about us. That's right, it's about us. We're talking union contracts, organizing victories, labor rights, human dignity, fair pay, and bold everyday resistance to injustice in every form. So whether you're on the job, in your car, at your kitchen table, or deep in the fight, lean in, honk your horns if you stand with workers. Throw a fist up if you know your worth. Joining me today are our fire starters. Of course, Sir Reginald Small, Timmia Wiley, Tay Akins. So buckle up, beloveds, because the power we build together, that power is ours. Let's get right into it. Our union voices are ringing in every district from Alaska to Maine, Texas to Minnesota, Canada to Puerto Rico, because we don't play at CWA. Our union brothers, sisters, and siblings at the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette have been outside for 33 months, 1,030 days, striking on the picket lines. And yet, while they are striking, they're still churning out the news with facts for you and me. Let's show our support to them by making sure we subscribe to unionprogress.com. Once you subscribe to this free publication, how about going over and donating to their strike fund at cwa.org/ppg-donate. Let me repeat that one more time. That's cwa.org/ppg-donate. And I just heard someone shout in the background, when we fight, we win.
Man,
Today, we honor a man whose life tells the truth that the fight for workers' rights has always been the fight for civil rights. Gene Mays. Gene's journey began in the coal mines of West Virginia. After serving his country in the U.S. Army, he moved to Buffalo, New York, looking for better opportunities. He found work at the Western Electric Wire and Cable Plant. And that's where he found something even more powerful, the union movement. Gene worked with CWA Local 1102, one of the locals that built the foundation of CWA in Western New York in the 1940s and 50s. He rose fast, becoming president of Local 1162 in the late 40s, and in 1961, breaking barriers as the first African-American officer in CWA's history. But Gene didn't step into easy times. These were the McCarthy years. Unions were under attack, called communists, and Gene, as a Black leader, was targeted with racial prejudice too. Shortly after his election, the company tried to decertify the union, questioning both CWA's values and Gene's heritage. They didn't know what they were doing and who they were fooling with. Gene led his members into a battle of recognition and won. Membership grew to 2,000, and his work organizing telephone workers across New York only expanded CWA's power. In 1969, he became assistant to the vice president of District 1, still the only Black staff member in the union. And when the longest strike in CWA history hit, the New York telephone strike of 1971 to 1972, Gene stepped up as a defense fund agent. He decided who got how much and when, stretching every single dollar to keep families afloat and keep the strike alive. Former CWA President Marty Barr remembered how much the fight took out of him. He was never the same after that, he said. Gene Mays passed unexpectedly in 1973, but not before showing us what courage, leadership, and solidarity looked like. He proved that civil rights and labor rights are one struggle. He showed that representation matters, not just for the sake of history, but for the power of our future. Gene's fight is our fight. And today we say his name with pride. Gene Mays, CWA pioneer, barrier breaker, and champion of justice. From the coal mines to the union hall, Gene Mays broke barriers as CWA's first African American officer, proving civil rights and labor rights are one fight. We honor his courage, his leadership, and his legacy. Say it with us, Eugene Gene Mays, CWA Forever Strong. You're listening to 1140 KYOK 1140 AM in the all new 106.5 FM. If you're on the go, you can take us with you by visiting kyokradio.org. Listen and subscribe to us every Thursday morning, 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific on kyokradio.org, the CWA Strong app, or your favorite podcast player. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, iHeartRadio, Podchaser. And guess what, guys? I found out we are on Amazon Music as well. Search for CWA Hour of Power on your favorite podcast player. Well, guess who's in the studio? It is our international president, Mr. Claude Cummings, all the way back in from Pittsburgh for our convention. And we got to acknowledge him and the wonderful work and how he did everything at our CWA 80th convention. Good morning, Mr. Cummings.
Good morning, Errol, and good morning to the rest of the staff. You guys are sounding good this morning. Just so happy to be a part of this show. And let me just start by, first of all, just thanking all of you for your great work, your presentations, and for CWA members that are listening. Just so happy that those that were in attendance had an opportunity to see me chair my first full convention, as president of CWA. And listen, we had a great time. It was a good convention. I think to be able to get our unbreakable proposal passed and get our budget passed was significant because we have some fights ahead. I think I said in my opening remarks that our democracy in some places is on life support, and unions have under the administration of President Trump have been under the biggest attack. Let me just put it that way: the biggest attack in labor's history. And so it's important that we have the resources we need to fight back in case CWA comes under attack. But I want to thank all the delegates who attended the convention, those who might be listening to the radio show. I thought the convention went very well, very smooth. We got proposals passed that needs to be passed, and had discussions around a lot of things that are important to us. The Human Rights Committee, all of you just did an excellent, y'all knocked it out the ballpark with your presentations, as well as, the Women's Committee, CRE, and all the rest of the committees just did an excellent job. So thank you for all of the work that you do. And as I stated on stage, I don't believe there's a better human rights committee in the labor movement than the CWA Human Rights Committee. Simple as that. From your involvement when the AFL-CIO has conferences, your involvement in Selma, when we have the reenactment of the bridge crossing ceremony. I mean, y'all are just so active whenever you're reached out to, and I'm proud. I'm really proud of all of you and the work that you're doing. This radio show is doing great, and I'm just proud, and I'm overwhelmed, at the support that I received at my first convention, chairing my first convention, in Pittsburgh. So you guys continue to do the great work, but know that we've got some fights ahead. We have some fights ahead with this administration, and it's so very, very important that everyone understands that next year is a pivotal year for us. I believe that not just CWA, but all of labor needs to be engaged, involved, and are working to make sure that we hopefully win the House back, and the Senate is going to be a little bit more difficult. But I think if we work hard, we can get both houses back, so we can continue or we should stop the erosion of our democracy. Let me put it that way,
Mhm.
in this country, because as I stated earlier, in many places around this country, our democracy, in my opinion, is on life support.
Mr.
So,
Cummings, go ahead. Go ahead, Tay.
well, I just wanted to say we wanted to bring some highlights from the 80th
Okay.
CWA National Convention.
Okay.
Um, we wrapped that up on August 12th in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And let me tell you, the energy on the floor was absolutely electrifying.
You're
Yes.
absolutely right, Tay. And hopefully Mr. Cummings can stay around for a little bit where we can talk about this. Um, what was so electrifying, and I kind of talked to him about this yesterday when we were in the airport, is that it was a different atmosphere from our past conventions. And you could see the excitement as well as feel the excitement from thousands of our union members coming across from across the country coming together. And the theme, the theme united. I mean, that simply sent a message to everybody. We're coming here for one goal, and that is to be united, to strengthen our union, defend our workers' rights, and fight for equity and justice in every workplace.
And if I may say so, Errol, that convention, I mean, that it was one of the best, and I've attended many. It was one of the best ones that I'd ever had the pleasure of attending, the 80th convening, and I was excited about it going into it. But I'll say this as a professional conference attendee, that the tone and the energy is brought by the leader. It starts there, and President Cummings, he actually set the tone in that with his opening speech. There, he set us on edge with the speech, and he actually set the tone. And from there, the energy of that conference, that convention, was absolutely amazing. Not just the human rights committees from when you attend a convention like that every 2 years, everyone has such a major part to play. All of the committees, the resolution, the appeals, all of the committees were on point and they delivered it. The DFOC, I mean, they delivered it. In this
Yes.
particular year, because of so much that's going on in our world, which impacts our union, each committee had, I believe, a more intense responsibility this time coming in. I mean, we had serious matters that we attended to, but I tell you, we handled business at that conference. Every committee came in on a 10. They did their jobs. And of course, I'm biased towards the human rights committees. The women's committee, they were spectacular. The CRE committee, I mean, we do separate reports, but we are one team. And it actually showed there at the 80th convening, and I'm still on fire about it. And President Cummings said it best. We have work to do. No matter how you look at it, we have work to do. We have to continuously tell our people, talk to our people, interact with our members about the importance of the work that we have to do. And we as human rights activists, when we come together in a room like that and the energy is so good, it empowers us to be able to step out and continue to make a difference in this ever so important work.
And speaking of handling business, President Cummings, I love how you took charge of the conference when it started going to the left just a little bit. I appreciate that. I appreciate I kudos to you for doing that.
Be surprised at how many comments I received during the convention about that exchange between me and my delegate. And the idea for me is this, and y'all have heard me say this before: the enemy is not in the room, right? When we are meeting, and so I am one that believes in unity. I'm one who believes in and have given everyone an opportunity to have their say on the issue that's important. But one thing I'm not going to allow is for us to treat each other in a disrespectful way. No one's going to do the chair like that, and you're not going to do another delegate like that. And I think you're right, Timmia. I think that set the tone, and I've been told by many that set the tone for the entire meeting. As a matter of fact, my staff my senior staff told me after that exchange, Claude, you really became president of CWA today.
Mm.
Might have been 2 years
You
ago,
did.
but you became the president today after that exchange because the rest of the convention operated smoothly and there was not any disruption. There was not any disrespectful exchanges, between someone that might have been for or against an issue. Everyone treated each other with respect. And
Absolutely.
I've been told, as I think it was Errol or either Reginald said this, I've been to a lot of conventions, and that was probably one of the smoothest run conventions that I have been involved in a while, to be quite honest with you. So thank you for that, Reggie. And thank you, Timmia, for that also. But I think it set the tone for the rest of the convention.
And what I want to say as a new delegate and my first actual convention, the excitement in my heart to see the democratic process, what democracy looks like, to see the tone being set, to see a leader say, hey, enough is enough. Remember what we're supposed to be doing. It was exciting. That's electrifying to be a part of that process, which so many people are not. So I am very much so grateful that I was a part of this process. I was able to be on the floor. I was able to hear you front row because I was sitting there. um, it was something different. It was when I talked to everyone else, I was like, oh, this is how it happens all the time. They said, no, Tay, this is not all the time. This was a good one for you. So
Yes.
it was great. I could not wait to get back and tell my local what I actually got to experience.
Great. And I had to laugh at myself. Beth sent me a video of that exchange. And of course, that was all around the reach, because we had some that had both the hands in the air. And I can't believe I said what I said. It's two hands, but you don't have two bodies. So we're going to do this.
Right, right. And President Cummings, Tay was following in your footsteps because we were trying to take pictures after our exchange and everything. And she comes up and says, listen, I'm a delegate. I got to get back on the floor. Y'all hurry up.
I was trying to get my one body up so that I could vote. So I wanted to be on the floor. Like I said, it was very exciting. And I love social media, and we all know I do. But I had this, hey, guy, I'm a delegate this time. I have to go. So I felt good to be I ran back to the floor with my little toot 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 boot tone, and I was ready.
Well,
Yes.
in the staff meeting, I think it was Vice President Schloss that said, Claude is a compassionate leader. He uses and this is the way I've always led. I use the carrot, not the stick, right? I try to lead people. But what I also said is, don't take my kindness for weakness. You don't rise like I have through the labor movement. Every position I've been in, I have, of course, been elected. I've been the first Black in every position, and I've always been one that used the carrot and not the stick in trying to get things done. But with that being said, I believe in democracy, but I also believe in the fact that we need to treat each other with decency and respect. But there is another side of me, and I think they saw it on Monday, right? And that I can bring that out when I need to. And thankfully the delegate got it, and everyone else, I think all the delegates got it. And because of that, we had a smoothly run convention.
Yeah, and one of the things that I liked was when you made sure that democracy was taking place. If there was a mess up somewhere, no, let's stop. We have to do what It has to be done. The democracy has to go forward in our convention. And that, I really think that showed, I mean, leadership that you have instilled in all of us.
Right. Well, I have my feelings about issues that we had before the convention, but I'm the chair. And so I cannot be biased when I'm in that position. And I just want to make sure that that everyone has an opportunity to exercise their rights to vote. And I did not initially the roll call proceedings, but after one of the observers and then one of the staff, and I think one of the executive board members said to me, Claude, yeah, there was a call for a recall. I had no choice, in my opinion, and even the parliamentarians, because again, in order for a convention to move smoothly like that, you just can't meet one night. I've been meeting for about 2 months with the parliamentarians and the attorneys, and we role played any situation that we thought may come up on the floor. And so we were well prepared to handle anything that that might hit the floor, right? What I really thought was going to be somewhat controversial was the Middle East issue and everything that's going on, with the war between Israel and Gaza. And but we even worked through that without a lot of confusion and a lot of people getting too emotional. So I was quite proud of that. But that's what happens when you have a team working together forward in the best interest of the people and not themselves, right? And David Rosenblatt, Richard Rosenblatt, I'm sorry, Richard did a great job. Matt, our general counsel, did an excellent job, and the other 3 attorneys that were on stage were excellent in helping me run the meeting, to be quite honest with you. And so that's what we will have them at every convention moving forward, because I want to make sure that we have order. And the next thing is, and I said this several times, if there's any time we need unity in our union, and even with other unions, it's now. It is now. And so my plans are, whenever I travel, first of all, I love going by work centers, so I'll go by work centers, but I'll talk about the fact that we have to be unified. And I think that's what helped us with the contracts when we had to strike against AT&T, to be able to move that contract in District 3 as well as the one in District 6 and District 9. I think it's because of the unity. Everyone across the country was pulling for the District 3 members, the airline industry, the manufacturing industry. They all were standing up, holding signs and things of that nature. And that's how we get things done, when we all work together. And that's what I'm going to be talking about from here until we get past the next presidential election. It's important that we all are on the same page. The enemy is not within CWA. The enemy is those who are trying to take away our rights to bargain, our rights to organize, right? Our taking away our rights to vote, in this country. So that's what I'll be talking about, the next 2 years. You hear a lot about unity from me.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Cummings. And we want to thank everyone for the part that was played in the convention, from the executive board to behind the scenes staff, the delegates, and the caterers. We had some great food. So thank you so much. Up next, we're going to have Union 101 Part 3 with Mr. Reginald Small, Dues, Dollars, and Democracy. Good morning, Reginald.
Errol Minor, and good morning to our KYOK radio listeners. And it's another day's journey, and I am super glad about it. So I know we've been talking about Union 101, and I think we're going to continue with that today. And we're going to talk about dues, dollars, and democracy. So where do your union dues go? Union dues are your investment in power. It's not a handout to anyone at the top. Here's what they do. This is where your union dues are going. Collective bargaining. That's the negotiation that wins you better wages, better benefits, and yes, safer workplaces. Also, legal support. If your rights are violated, your union is ready to step in. I mean, lawyers, grievances, filings, all that's included in legal support. And if you know anything about legal support, it's not cheap. But also, strike and emergency funds. If workers need to take action, there is money to help you survive. That is our strike fund. We have one. And it's alive and well, as we learned at this last convening. Training and education, safety, leadership, and rights education. So you know your power and how to use it. Education, education, education. It is truly important. An educated member is a stronger member. Community and political advocacy, fighting for the rights, for voting rights, healthcare access, anti-discrimination laws, and yes, social justice. So now, myth busting time. Some will say the union just takes your money. That's union busting at its best. It's an old tactic, and it's a lie. Every dollar is reinvested somehow into you and your coworkers, into power, into further protections, and into progress. That is the oldest union busting line, that the union, it just takes your money. It takes money to do anything in this world. And for a union with as many people as we have, of course, there are administration costs. There are people that have to be compensated as far as just salaries. I mean, it's all part of it, but it's for you. Democracy in action. Here's the thing that makes a union different. You vote. You vote. You vote for your leadership. You vote for your local leaders. You vote for your international leaders. You get the opportunity to let your voice be heard. And that's one of the reasons when you speak of our national convening, that's what we go there for, so that you can vote. You have a voice. You can go to the mic. That's democracy at its best. Every member votes on leadership, on contracts, and how money is spent. Dues aren't a fee. They're your ticket to workplace democracy. Why this matters. Union members make 10 to 30% more than non-union workers. Dues fund legal fights that protect your job, your rights, and your benefits. Dues fuel campaigns that push for fairness, justice, and equity, not just at workplace, but in your community. Because people, we exist in a community, and then we come to work in a company. So what goes on into the community impacts us. So next time someone asks, why pay dues? Tell them this. It's your power. It is your voice. It's your protection. And it's your democracy all rolled into one. So that's Union 101, Part 3, Dues, Dollars, and Democracy. Next week, we're diving into Part 4, How to Start a Union at Your Job, where knowledge meets action and change begins. Back to you, Errol Minor.
You're listening to KYOK 1140 AM and the all-new 106.5 FM. If you're on the go, you can take us with you by visiting kyokradio.org. Tune in every Thursday at 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific on kyokradio.org, the CWA Strong app, or your preferred podcast player, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, iHeartRadio, and Podchaser. Oh, and by the way, we're now on Amazon Music. Up next, we're going to be talking about the Awareness Month, or I should say it is a National Breastfeeding Month. And here we have with us today Tay Akins, who is sitting in for Mikeya Jones.
Good morning, Errol, and good morning, KYOK family. So today we're going to be talking about something really important, which is National Breastfeeding Month. So for me, breastfeeding isn't just about feeding my baby. It's about giving them the very best start in life. Breast milk is full of antibodies that help protect our little ones from sickness. It supports healthy brain development, and it builds a strong bond between the mother and child that's hard to put into words. Every feeding moment is a connection. It's comfort and love. Now, you all know me. I'm always on the go with my union family. And when we travel for work, that's one thing my crew knows is coming. So if we go to a hotel, if we go anywhere, we are always looking to support for a microwave so that we can warm up that breast milk. Calling down to the front desk real quick just to get one because warming baby's breast milk is just as non-negotiable as winning a fair contract. National Breastfeeding Month is also a reminder that we need workplaces that truly support parents. Means breast, that means pumping breaks, clean spaces to feed our babies, and understanding that raising next generation and work worth protecting. So, to every parent out there breastfeeding or providing milk for their baby, I see you. I know the sleepless nights as a mother of five children. Trust me, I know the sleepless nights when it comes to breastfeeding. Once you get into your comfort, you got to roll over. You know what time it is. So, all of those sacrifices. I also know the joy of watching your baby grow strong, healthy, because what you've given them. What do we call that? The golden milk? This month, let's lift up those parents fighting for the policies that protect them and keep building a world where choosing to breastfeed isn't a struggle, it's supported. So I'm Tay, and this is our Power Radio show where we believe strong families make strong unions and strong unions make a strong future. So back to you, Errol.
Thank you so much, Tay. You are listening to KYOK 1140 AM and the all new 106.5 FM. If you're on the go, you can take us with you by visiting kyokradio.org. Listen and subscribe to us every Thursday morning, 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific on kyokradio.org, the CWA Strong app, or your preferred podcast player, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, iHeartRadio, Podchaser, and Amazon Music. Up next, we're going to be talking about the CWA Minority Caucus Convention that was held right before the CWA 80th National Convention. So today, we've got to shine spotlight on something powerful, and that is the CWA Minority Caucuses Convention. And for those of you who don't know that, the CWA Minority Caucus has been the heartbeat of leadership and development in our union for decades. It was founded to create pathways for minority leaders. And it's been around for some time. And a lot of times we don't hear everything that goes on in the Minority Caucus. But let me tell you something. The Minority Caucus has made a difference. It was created for minority members to step into leadership, to be at the decision-making tables, and to make sure that our union reflects all of its members across this country. From its very beginnings, the caucus has worked to break down barriers, mentor emerging leaders, and fight for equity inside and outside of CWA.
So Errol, just a little bit more about the Minority Caucus. That's a really it's exciting to talk about them. Of course, the Minority Caucus convened before our convention at the beginning of our convention, and it was a wonderful convening for them for the Minority Caucus as well. It was very, very well attended. And just a little background on the Minority Caucus. We talk about the human rights department on this radio show often. But the truth of the matter is that because of the Minority Caucus, we actually have a human rights department, a women's committee, and a civil rights and equity committee. It's because of the Minority Caucus and what the caucus actually fought for so that we could be represented across our union, no matter who the leaders were. It also ensured that there were seats on the board at the table that shared an equal vote on the National Executive Board. 4 seats were appointed through the Minority Caucus. So, I mean, when we walked into the Minority Caucus conference, you felt the energy. It was a full room of people who know where we came from, who've been in the trenches, and who's actually responsible for building the future and moving forward. And we're at a time, Errol, in this particular environment that we're living in, that organizations like the Minority Caucus, we must tap into not only the historical perspective to remind people that before the Minority Caucus, the struggle that minorities had, not just gaining leadership, but actually existing and actually having a voice in our union. So it's not just that we're making presidents and all that's good that we're making presidents, we're making leaders, we're on the executive board. I mean, that was a struggle just to be acknowledged and to have a voice in the union in which we exist in. And thank God for progress, but we're on the backs of the Minority Caucus for sure.
Speaking of knowing where we came from, we got to talk about we have to talk about the incredible speech given by director Angie Wells. Angie stood up there and reminded all of us that she is standing on the shoulders of giants from the Minority Caucus. She talked about how those leaders before her, she talked about the leaders before her, the trailblazers, built a foundation that she's not just standing on, but also building higher for those coming behind her. It was it was heartfelt, and it reminded us all while we keep pushing. And then there was District 6 very own David Marshall. His presentation on diversity, equity, and inclusion and accessibility, next level. He didn't just talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, accessibility. He brought it to life. He brought videos, visuals, the whole nine to make sure everyone understood what's at stake, why these values matter, and how they connect to the fight we're having right now in our workplaces and communities. You could see the light bulbs going off in the room at that moment.
But you know what else is beautiful? Seeing our own people, our CWA human rights activists right there in the mix, not just attending, but working, organizing, and holding positions within the Minority Caucus. We've got to give love to Vonda Wilkins, Kwame Barnes, and so many others who are out here leading by example. It's a reminder that the work we do in the Human Rights Department is connected to every other piece of the union. And when we show up in spaces like the Minority Caucus, we bring that energy, that passion, and that commitment to equity.
Now, family, let's give a big CWA Our Power salute to the newly elected 2025 CWA National Minority Caucus Executive Board. Woo! We have Reginald.
And before I go there, Errol, you all know me, I'm old-fashioned, and I'm always afraid to start calling names. And Timmia just talked about the people that we recognize. When you call names, you always feel like you've left somebody out. So everybody who participated in that Minority Caucus in any way, know that we're giving you a shout out today. But the CWA National Minority Caucus Executive Board, President Maurice Washington, Vice President Gerald Brown, the Treasurer, Ms. Rose Whitney, Assistant Treasurer Christy Pham, Recording Secretary Renee Wilder, Assistant Recording Secretary Adrian Weems, and the district representatives. District 1, Deborah Paler. District 2, Tracy Higgins. District 3, Mr. Ed Barlow. District 4, Nikki Yemi. District 6, David Marshall. District 7, Vonda Wilkins. District 9, Richard Castellano.
And to the outstanding officers and district reps, Rochelle Long, Danielle Brewer Colliers, sorry,
Collier.
Colliers, and Art Clemens. Y'all correct me when I get someone's name wrong because I like it when someone corrects it for me. So thank you for your dedication and your service to the Minority Caucus. You've set a standard for leadership and commitment that will be remembered.
And we can't forget those honors. The Eugene Mays Award went to Frank Arce, VP of District 9. The Walter D. Andrews Award went to Rochelle Long. And this year's scholarship recipients, Eduardo Diaz Scholarship winner, Sydney Marshall, and Norma Powell Scholarship winner, Jocelyn Lauren Sandoval. Congratulations to you both.
And the CWA Minority Caucus Convention isn't just an event, it's a reminder of what's possible when we invest in each other, when we lift each other up, and when we refuse to leave anyone behind. The past, the present, and the future of our union were all in the room. And that's our CWA power. You're listening to KYOK 1140 AM and the all-new 106.5 FM. If you're on the go, you can take us with you by visiting kyokradio.org. Listen and subscribe to us every Thursday morning, live, 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific on kyokradio.org, the CWA Strong app, or your preferred podcast player. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, iHeartRadio, Podchaser, and Amazon Music. Search for the CWA Hour of Power on your favorite podcast player. Well, listen, we had started a little conversation on last week, and let's kind of get back to it because it kind of on my way to the airport yesterday morning, I had a conversation with the driver that was carrying me to the airport, and I thought about this on the way home. Now, y'all know I really always mind my own business.
That is a joke, Errol.
and I was peacefully scrolling, trying to stay grounded in this wild world we're living in. But the next thing I know, I done fell down a rabbit hole. So let's talk about collateral grief when immigration raids hit home. And what hit me deep this time, I started thinking about something I never hear anyone talk about, not the news, not the social media, not even advocacy circles. I want to ask all of you and everybody listening, have you ever thought about how these immigration raids are impacting American families who adopted children from other countries? Have you all ever just thought about that? The Haitian kids, the Mexican kids, the Asian kids, the African kids being raised by American parents, how are they processing these attacks? And when you really look at it, we have avenues in which we have support to adopt children. So I kind of want to talk about this collateral grief when the immigration raids really hit home, because that's what it is. It's a grief that sneaks into the safest places in our country, and that's our homes. Even when the child is a citizen on paper, the system still sees them through the lens of suspicion.
Well, Errol, let me just say something, and I'm probably jumping ahead because I see Timmia's mouth moving, but I don't hear anything. But let me just say this. I'm absolutely offended when I actually look at something that's called a raid. A raid, immigration raid. We've gone from something called immigration reform to doing a raid. A raid is something that we are familiar with drugs and bad people. And now we're talking about raiding people that are actually, in some cases, contributing to society. And I really don't like to blur this line because I believe the people who are orchestrating this want the lines blurred. There is nothing wrong with criminals being picked up or moved around, be them immigrants or Americans. If you're a criminal and you're breaking the law for some ghastly reason, of course, yes. But we're talking about working people, people that are in Home Depots and Lowe's trying to get some material to actually go do a job, an honest day's work for an honest day's pay, that you're coming in to disturb their lives. I'm just absolutely flabbergasted and insulted that we can even talk about these people who are contributing to society in a raid form as if they need to be picked up and put in some kind of van and shipped off to somewhere that some of them have never lived or haven't been there since they were 2 years old. So I know I'm a little bit off subject, but I had to address that word. It's against everything that we stand for as human rights activists.
Okay, because let's be real, that ain't about it ain't about paperwork. It's about what do they call it? Dog whistle. What do we call it? Somebody report was about
Dog
that.
whistle.
About yeah, it's about somebody had that report on it about words that what was it? It was RPL and Tisha, I think, about using words that
Coded language.
Coded language,
right,
yes.
coded language. It's about coded language and making things sound like the boogeyman. People sound like the boogeyman when they aren't. These raids don't come with a spreadsheet of who's illegal and who's not. They're picking up anybody, they can, people who may look like they're Hispanic or who may look like they're Haitian. They come with trauma, and when a Black or brown child who is adopted or not opens the door, the first thing they see is an American citizen. They see a threat. They see the color. They see that's a problem. That is a problem.
Say that. And imagine being 12 years old, adopted from Haiti, growing up in Georgia, and you're outside riding your bike and someone calls ICE on you. You go to school wondering, are they coming for me? Even though you've been a citizen since you were 2.
Well, you're right, Tay. It's back to racial profiling at its best. It's not about what your papers actually say. It's how you look that you can be targeted. So I could see a child if the adults are living in fear. I'm getting real-time stories of people who won't come out of the house, children who are not going to school because of the fear. They're in the house. People are having to create support systems to bring food and to make sure that their basic necessities are met. So if the parents are living in fear, what do you think that's creating in a whole generation? And that won't go away overnight. There is some damage here that's actually being done. So, Errol, I'm not missing your point. I know this conversation is about the children and how they feel, but you can't talk about the children without talking about the people who are nurturing and raising the children.
But let me go back just
You
a little bit. Let me just interrupt. I'm sorry.
go
Something you
ahead.
touched on, Reginald. And when you said the support system to bring food into the house so that people aren't going out, if that don't sound like the Diary of Anne Frank to me.
It sounds so much. It sounds so much like that, and I know there's some great controversy with comparing it to that. But if you are a history person, and I am, it sounds very, very much like that. It sounds very much like that 19 late 1930s pre-World War II issues that we frown upon, and people are ashamed of that now. And this is what's happening. It's not the first time, and it's happened to different people. And who's next?
And I want to jump in there too because we all get a little jump one time. So this is my jump. So when we talk about racial profiling, I just want to make sure that we remember that when we say undocumented, that doesn't just mean brown people. So yes, it's racial profiling because there are people who come from other countries as well who would be considered undocumented, but only the brown ones are under attack. And I'm gonna let it go right there.
Uh, Listen, My driver yesterday, he got on a conversation. He was asking, "What did we do?" So, what did I do for a living? And so I start talking about what I actually do for a living. And he shared with me on our drive to the airport yesterday that he is from Egypt. He's been here for 20 some odd years. And he and his wife are terrified at what could happen to these days. And he says, in these times, and he says that I have my paperwork. I came here the right way, but we're scared. My wife is even scared for me. And my best friend of 15, 20 years just got deported to Jordan, and he knows nothing about Jordan.
That makes absolutely no sense, but I'm gonna stay over here.
I mean, well, it's happening, and of course, doing some human rights work in other regions. It seems to be it's happening everywhere, but more prevalent in certain cities. And Los Angeles happens to be one. And I'm not picking on Los Angeles in that way, but Los Angeles happens to be one. And when you visit there and you talk to people who actually reside there and live there, it is really happening. But you turn on the mainstream news, and that's not what you're hearing. You're not hearing that. And so there's a whole slew of people out there that think that it's reform, it needs to be done, and um it's not real. It is real. It is real. It is happening. It's a sad situation right now.
Hmm.
It must be my turn to talk. I'm just gonna say,
I mean, it's emotional violence. No matter how American you feel, the humanity in you should make you see that something is wrong with this. I don't care who you voted for. What you're seeing affecting, impacting, breathing people with a heartbeat, flesh and blood, it must. I mean, it has to touch you. Any activist, I know that. I mean, it's bothering us as activists for sure.
Yes.
But if you really just listen to what is going on, there's no way for you to say that you agree with this agenda. It's gotten out of hand. Immigration reform, I don't, everybody on the planet probably knows that needs to be some type of reform, but this is not reform. This is not fixing the problem. You still have a broken immigration system, and certain people you want to keep out more than others. Something's wrong.
Yes, you're
it's
absolutely,
mean, and
absolutely correct.
it's just a mean spirit. It's a
Hmm.
mean-spirited, barbaric. It's just a mean spirit that has come over this country. It's just a mean spirit, and that's just all it is. It's called being. I don't know what I don't know how to say it without cussing, so I'm gonna call it a mean spirit.
All right.
Well, you have many times to cuss about it because this is something that's ongoing, and I encourage people to pay attention to pay attention and not just watch it and clasp your pearls and pass messages on TikTok or what you saw on some reels, but actually see how you can get involved. Talk to people that you know that is impacting and see what it is that you can do. And most importantly, utilize the legislative process to let the leaders in your community know where you stand and what you expect of them. Yes, it goes back to politics. There's nothing that we do. If you live in a house with a cat, it's political. So you can say that you're not political or you don't want to be involved, but everything impacts you. So whether you have a voice in it or whether you choose to take your rightful place in democracy, it's still impacting you. So you just want to become informed, get educated, and yes, contact the people who are in office to represent you. Whether you voted for them or not, they still represent you, and you have a voice.
Well, thank you guys so much for going down that rabbit hole with me. I appreciate it so much. And we'll pick this back up on next week. You're listening to KYOK 1140 AM and the all new 106.5 FM. If you're on the go, you can take us with you by visiting kyokradio.org. Up next is Tea with Tay. Come on, Tay. Let's hear it. Let's feel it.
I know you all have heard my excitement all morning about the 80th National Convention, so that is definitely what we will be talking about today. So I'm Tay Akins, and today I'm serving it hot, straight from the CWA 80th National Convention floor. This is your tea on democracy, where we debate without hate, vote without venom, and still toast together after the dust settles. Listen, let me spill this tea while it is still hot, fresh from convention. Democracy is a beautiful, messy, loud, and sometimes downright exhausting things. And to my siblings who are listening, you know exactly what I mean when I say exhausting. And you know where I saw all the action, it was at the CWA 80th National Convention. Now, we did not all agree. Oh, there was some debate, there was some votes,
No, it's all good.
there was some side eyes across the room that could have cut glass. But here's the kicker. There was no hate in our disagreements, none, not even a crumb. Why? Because democracy means we all have a vote and a voice. We should be proud of that. That's power. And in that room, every single one of us used it. We didn't whisper our opinions. We put them on the mic, hit the voting button, and stood on it. This was my first convention as a delegate. I could not have been prouder to be a part of this process. And here's the part I love. We could spar all day over policies, strategies, and who's got the better plan. And then we still sat down that night for dinner, shared a drink, and laughed until our faces hurt. Because democracy isn't about winning every single round. It's about showing up. It's about speaking up and respecting the person from across you that has the same right to do the exact same thing. Let me tell you, if more of Americans work like the convention floor, this country wouldn't be out here acting like civil disagreement is a crime. We wouldn't be unfriending people over votes and ghosting family over political posts or treating anyone who doesn't agree 100% with us like they're an enemy. And don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about those full of hate, racism, and division. I'm talking about those who may disagree with your point of view, but they still respect your opinion and are willing to hear your side. At the end of the day, democracy means this. We can fight tooth and nail for what we believe, and when the fight is over, we remember we're still on the same team. We are still working people. We're still breaking bread and raising glasses and laughing together because disagreements don't mean disconnection. It means the system is alive, breathing, and working. So here's my challenge to everybody. If we can do it at the CWA 80th National Convention with all that passion, pressure, and politics swirling, then America, you can do it too. Debate without hate, vote without venom, argue without breaking the bond. That's democracy. That's work. And that's the real tea for today. Once again, thank you, CWA family, for always being the example. This is what democracy looks like. And back to you, Errol.
As we come down to the final minutes of the show, our union brothers, sisters, and siblings at the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette have been outside for 1,030 days on the picket lines. And yet, while they're striking, they're still churning out the news with facts for you and me. Let's show our support to them by making sure we subscribe to unionprogress.com. And I just heard someone shout, "We are one." That's right, we are one. August and all of its awareness days are an important opportunity for you, yes, you, to take action and learn more today. When you take time to learn about others around you, you're making the world a better place. Awareness campaigns serve as a powerful reminder that there are steps we all must take in looking out for loved ones, the people in our community, and those who have been impacted. It's time to take one big step together and make a change. An hour is not long enough to be with you, and a week is too long to be away from you. You have been tuned into the CWA Human Rights Hour Power broadcast. I hope something you heard today has inspired you to take action toward creating positive change in the world. Every person has the power to make a difference, no matter how small, and by working together, we can create a world where human rights are respected and valued. So I encourage each of you in the listening audience to reflect on your role in promoting human rights to effect change in your communities and beyond. Know that you're not alone in your quest for a more just and equitable world. When faced with injustice, it can be easy to lose hope and give up, but just remember, justice may be slow like the truth, but when it finally comes, it will stand. Until next Thursday, 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, right here on KYOK 1140 a.m. and the all-new 106.5 FM KYOK radio.org. See you next week.